Hey, everybody. Thank you so much for being here. I am your co host for today's market check. My name is Max. I'm joined by Will's Outlook, or as I call him, Dr. Outlook, because he has the outlook of all outlooks, as well as, oh, and that's my voice. Just hang on a second. And we're also joined by Tucker. Today we're going to be talking charts, price action, narratives, and just overall having a little bit of fun, which of course is a great way to start the day. So let's get right into it and kind of talk about what we're seeing in the markets right now. I will say this: we saw this morning a relatively nasty little low time frame pullback out of IWM and small caps. Now, yesterday we were all really excited about this, the potential rotation that we were starting to see. Thankfully, any of the small cap exposure that we had, we closed out yesterday before the bell, which was very opportune. But I think really what caused this small cap squeeze in the first place, it was really just short term speculators. It was people just looking to sort of rent the rally, playing 0 day to 4 week out calls. And I guess the vehicle in which people use to speculate on a range breakout, which is what we had on the Russell. It doesn't really matter whether they're actually buying shares of these companies or they're just buying short dated calls. It's all the same. I mean, it's all representative of the same bet, I guess. One is more sustainable than the other. Um, but typically, you're going to see a U turn, kind of like we're seeing right now, if people were just speculating on price and more or less gambling rather than actually wanting to own shares of these companies or the index itself. So we're seeing this sort of rotation back into safety, right? We're seeing this rotation back into mega cap tech or some of the bigger names. And we'll see if it continues, but things are looking a little bit, they're looking a little bit overextended here, truthfully, in the short term. And just to be clear, we could have a really aggressive pullback. Technically speaking, QQQ could pull back to 335 and still be in an uptrend, and that's a big pullback. We're sitting at 350 right now. So I'm being a little bit cautious up here. I did reduce my small cap exposure, locked in some really nice profits. I was one of those people actually renting the rally. I bought some basically 3 weeks till expiration calls earlier this week on the Russell. We made about 220%, give or take, on those, which was really great. It was a nice win, but I'm happy that I'm out of them. And another story for the day too is, we saw some shakeup in the jobs market this morning. We saw jobless claims tick up a little bit, and then of course you go back a couple weeks and compound that with the unemployment rate officially ticking up from 3.4 to 3.7%. And then, of course, you go over to the Fed Watcher tool and you see that now the market's in fact pricing in a probability of over 75% chance of a pause in it's the June 14th FOMC meeting. Um, so I'm looking at this and I'm asking myself, was what we just had the past 3 to 4 weeks, was that the Fed pause rally and the market's just way out in front of its skis? Or if the Fed actually pauses in less than a week, do we get some continued upside? So, anyways, lots to talk about today. There's also a new token that's in the caption of the video, OX, which is affiliated with Suzu and Kyle Davies and their new exchange, OpenX. And it looks like it's pressing up against all time highs right now. Market cap is about 40 million. I want to talk about that as well. Um, Lots to talk about. A lot to talk about. I'm going to kick it over to Dr. Outlook first. Will, good morning, man. I hope you're doing well. Talk to me about what you're seeing in the markets, man.
I mean, opportunity, Aaron, opportunity. um, yeah, I mean, as you can see right here, like I've just been kind of looking through different charts and kind of seeing what's going on. This is the EV company, really astonishing price action, I would say, from all the way back here in 2021 speculation in February to basically falling off a cliff from 750 something dollars all the way down to $1.74 now. I think it's really crazy how the market's kind of reacted to a lot of these things. I would be in a boat. This company is probably going to go bankrupt. I would definitely be in the boat in that scenario. To lose that much value is very significant, especially something like this. It's a small cap. Um, I'm just kind of scheming. Like I'm looking across the board. I'm looking for value. I'm trying to find out where it's at. Some of the things I posted on Twitter the other day. One that's a big one is Snapchat, right? A lot of people probably think that this one's dead too. This one actually looks really good. We got a solid foundation of support in here. We've got basically vol that's dropped off a cliff. A lot of people don't understand vol. So vol basically is trading volume, more or less, sells and buys, and you don't have either right now. Current where price currently is, and this is something I discussed in a video that I
Hey,
made for
Will,
app because
do you want me to show your screen for you? We toggle over
yeah,
there. All right.
yeah.
Give me just one moment here.
I thought we already were. My bad.
No, no. All right. There we go. Looking good. Go for it.
All right, yeah. So this is basically Snap right here. So Snap's basically sideways price action, lower in volume, which means trading's kind of falling off a cliff on this stock. There's really not a lot of interest here. So when you kind of get to a lower zone, I've discussed this on previous videos that where I made for app because Bitcoin, and you're at a volume drop like this, like, the only place you really have to go is up because it means sellers have been pretty much washed out at the low here. And then buyers are pretty much not interested either. So you're in a scenario where you have to create volatility to create trading volume to keep the stock moving. I think you're in a good price range too. If you look at the overall, you got a solid support in this zone right here. Yeah, you could deviate to this previous deviation. I don't think this ever gets recaptured, to be honest with you. I think this is kind of the low of the move, but we are at lower lows here from this aspect. And some people might be in the boat that it could go lower. Yeah, it could. But I think like if you're looking at this from a DCA, this is a great looking stock. You're looking at stochastic floored, you're looking at RSI also kind of floored. And if you put it on like the weekly, something in that zone, you could see basically price has been trading sideways while strength has been rising. Weekly has been kind of my best friend on a lot of these things. So we're kind of seeing price interest. If anything, we're seeing more and more strength on the buy side of the stock and pushing price higher, not necessarily price higher, but holding price where it currently is as far as the support here. So as long as strength continues to rise here, I think there's interest in the stock, and that even though the stock is trading sideways, this is basically an accumulation zone unless the strength breaks down. Right, if the strength breaks down, then I'll probably reevaluate that, but it doesn't mean I'll be removing my positions. I'll just be looking at DCA lower. Um, Unity is another interesting one, right? A lot of people ignored this one also. It's one of the top when it comes to gaming and the gaming industry. I mean, there's just these vol spikes here are insane. If you look here, you had a lot of price interest all the way up here at 21, as most stocks did. Then you had this cliff fall, and now you've got this massive vol spike here, saying there's a lot of interest in this price zone. There's a lot of trading activity here. There's a lot of people interested in entering and exiting in this price. So a lot of shifting of hands, and typically when you're looking at these type of moves too, it's something else I'm also interested in. Again, on the weekly, we're seeing a very similar move, and this is kind of the setup I've been looking at in a lot of charts. Is just this rising strength. It's indicating to me, even though price is kind of trading sideways, that there is a lot of interest in these stocks, man. There's a lot of interest at current prices. Now that doesn't mean that we can't see lower pricing. It just means that this is a good spot to be looking to
So,
pick
Will,
up
do you
some of these
think
stocks.
that this is potentially setting up for, like we've talked about, this echo bubble in small caps across the board, where people maybe aren't looking to position in them for the long term, at least at this point, but at least in the short term, price has more or less found a floor, and in the short term, we could see some pretty explosive price action, even if it's just for a month or two, like that.
Yeah, even if as a trader you wanted to just trade the range, it's not difficult, right? I think that's also a smart move here because you could basically take this low and take this high. And anytime you're getting up into this upper zone, you could sell, buy, sell, and you could just literally just play the range and basically make a lot of money off of that. And there's a lot of stocks that are doing that right now. There's a ton of stocks that are doing that. I mean, Snap's a very similar situation over here. You could basically just take the low end range and you could take the high end range. And again, it's a buy, sell, buy, sell. And get back down here again, it's a buy. So a lot of people aren't looking at this from this aspect. Everybody's looking at what's running versus can I trade the range, right? And there's a lot of ranges to be traded, even if you're not interested in buying into the market right now. you can still make money just through trading the market as it sits right now, and not even in a difficult way. I'd say like even your basic, low TA understanding retail investor could get into a lot of these. I mean, here's Vue6 right here, another one. Again, range bound, right? Range bound. Coming here to KOPN. KOPN was range bound, but what do we notice in the KOPN? Well, KOPN caught a bit, broke out of its range, and now it's kind of in this upper range in this, scenario where it wants to play higher. And really, we're kind of moving into, scenario somewhere's over here, even possibly. So we're kind of pushing into previous consolidation, retapping liquidity, and really our new range could be here. But like across the board, I think risk is there, risk is on. It's just for how long, right? And we talked about this too, Max. Probably going into the end of the year, we'll probably see tax loss harvesting. And a lot of people will ignore that and fade that, but that's usually your best buying opportunity. This is around those times. And it will happen, regardless of whether people want to believe it will or won't. It's just something that big money does. It takes losses to be able to supplement for taxes.
Yeah. No, I love it. Let's head over to Tucker, man. Tucker, what's going on? Hope you're doing well this morning. What are you seeing out there?
What's up, guys? Good to be on here again. I was laughing when Will told me to pull up FUV because I typed it in and it was just a straight line, straight down. No, but I'm good. I'm good. I been just kind of cruising through tickers this morning. Haven't taken any trades. I guess just to touch on the small cap conversation real quick. Like for me, I had the range drawn differently just from a volume profile perspective, like we talked about yesterday. Um, and I'm worried now that it looks a little like a deviation above 185 is what I'm a little worried about. But at the same time, it's kind of for me, it's like, okay, IWM has now shown life for the first time since like February. Okay. So it does also feel like it might be bid pullback season with it, especially with the events we have coming up. Um, so I'm thinking if we can get kind of a sustained dip, maybe to like 181, 182, that would probably be a good place to bid, depending on where the other indices are at that time. But um, yeah, like we can't have S&P collapse to like 4120 and expect to be able to bid IWM. Like that's just not going to happen. But if we can have a cool down before the events next week at CPI and FOMC, then I think it'll probably be one to bid. Obviously conditional, but yeah, besides that, did you flip it over to the chart, Max?
Yep, we're looking at you. I have one question about your IWM chart. So I mean, it kind of looks like we're chilling right at about the value area high of this consolidation going back to last May. I mean, this is a huge area. Couple days ago you mentioned, you know what? If I could get a pullback to like 184 on IWM, I might be interested there. Given how close we are to a potential Fed pause and an increased likelihood as of this morning of a Fed pause, do you think that IWM still looks prime for a move to potentially, mid to upper 190s? Or are you think we're going to basically call this a deviation, spit back down underneath the value area high, and I mean potentially even go back down into like the mid 170s? What are you thinking here with small caps?
Yeah, it's tough because I'm trying to identify if we're like here or we're like doing this,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Even if we're here, even if we're like at this third one, um, obviously it's not going to play the same, but even if we're like right here, I mean, it popped above and pulled back to like 180 and then ripped. So let me not RSI, let me throw on this other. Let's see. Oh, it's not going to work. I have to reload it. Let me just pull up this momentum indicator because I can kind of use that for some confluence too. Let's see. Yeah. So okay. Yeah, see, we're getting a little toppy here, but it, we were toppy back here too. It still ran. I mean, I like what I see from like this money flow. I do like that. We got it here too, but it kind of dwindled out. This is what I don't want to see. Let me just like do a quick run through of this. I don't want to see. Let me just put another indicator on here because I don't want to. Let me just put like volume and this, and then I don't like this big thing being here. Okay, this is what I don't want to see is like these lower high type activity. So it depends. Like here, we got the pullback, and then we just kind of chilled on this, and then we popped. So I probably want to see these momentum waves hold like this 50 level. That would probably be what I want to see. So there's some other things you can look at, but and I know not everybody like has the same indicators I do, whatever. But I think if we continue like this is the biggest thing for me is after I guess not this morning, but yesterday when they started pricing in a hike about 10% more than the day before. Obviously that changed this morning, but yeah, the chance of a pause was much murkier than it was 2 days ago. But now we're seeing it come back. So that is something like if I can be pretty sure that we're gonna get a disinflationary print and that we're gonna get a pause, I don't think it'll matter if I bid it at 184 or 180 or 179. Like I think, in that case, I think that it's probably gonna go to mid 90s regardless. So I'm just gonna try to do a little more research and get a read on that. But I guess, yeah, technically speaking, I want a little bit lower. Like, let me just go to some lower time frames. We can leave that out. I mean, yeah, we got a decent pullback already. This is kind of a must hold. Oh shoot, I might have screwed it up. This is kind of a must hold though, right here, or else we're coming back to 182. Yeah, I mean, I'd probably bid 183 honestly, somewhere in here. If we get down there, I'd probably bid it. Could be today, but yeah, no, that's what I'm thinking on small caps. And I know we saw the record call buying the other day, so obviously we had some beta chasing going on, and but that's the thing, like it's only end of rally mania activity if the other indices don't immediately like catch up the next day, which they're kind of doing. And obviously we're seeing IWM lag right now, which is fine, but as long as everything else isn't like nuking right now, it doesn't necessarily need to be like end of rally type activity. Let me just move this. Okay. Okay, so just wanted to go over the S&P super quick. I had this little range drawn. I just took this low and this high and drew it out. This is what I was looking for yesterday. Was this double top right here? We got it. I didn't know if this was going to hold or not, but it really, really has. Like, keep doing that. We've only gotten wicks below, so I mean, if you had bought any of these wicks, I mean, you're probably doing quite well. I want to see how we react right here at the mid, but just basic range. Last thing I'll say on S&P is usually on Twitter, every time I see a bull flag, I discount it because it's usually drawn with like Bitcoin to a target of like 250K or whatever.
Are you talking about
So
anyone in particular?
no one in particular. Don't want to call
Okay.
anyone.
No, nobody.
No one in
Most,
no one
yeah,
in
it could be
particular.
anybody.
But this one really does kind of look like I mean, I'm on the 1 hour, so like this wouldn't give you a crazy target. I mean, maybe it would. I mean, yeah, 4,400. I mean, I
So
could see
do
that.
do me a favor, go to the 4 hour chart for me.
All right.
Now go to the left. There should be a gap right up,
And here and here.
right there. Yeah, you see that gap right there?
Wait, up in here? No.
Yeah, isn't there a gap right there? Oh wait, can you? Yeah, yeah. There's a little gap right there between that close and that open. Yep, right there. I
Yeah.
have that marked out on my chart where it's not like it's not a huge gap, but there's definitely like there's an absence right there. No question
Yeah.
about it.
Where's that?
From the previous day close to the previous day open, it's partially mitigated.
43.80. Yeah, 43.80.
I want to make
This
that
will be
like
the
white or
yeah.
something.
Yeah. Wait, yeah, there we go. Okay. Yeah, so that would be our gap. So I mean that'd get you there. That would get you there for sure.
I mean, I think that would constitute our local blow off top, and equities potentially line up nice with a Fed pause. But I'm also just truthfully, I'm just skeptical of a Fed pause leading to like a sustained rally, because if you look at the Fed Watcher tool, I mean, you can
Mhm.
see that going back to, I mean, literally like a month ago, May 8th, there was an 85% chance of a pause. We've basically just been ranging on our probabilities between, like, let's just say 70 and 90% chance of a pause for over a month now, and equities have been ripping. QQQ ripped, SPY ripped. Russell got a little bit of a squeeze, right? I wouldn't say rip, but nonetheless, we've seen some individual names perform very well also. So I look at this data and I say, well, for the past month, the market's been pricing in an almost certain probability of a pause. Was this the Fed pause? Is the Fed pause maybe going to be one more knee jerk reaction jolt to the upside and ultimately a sell the news event, because the market's going to say, well, the Fed's pausing because they think they've over tightened, and they're afraid that they've over tightened. They're slamming on the brakes, and we're gonna fly through the windshield. I'm just skeptical that we're gonna get some sort of like crazy Fed pause rally. I feel like we're getting that right now. What do you guys think
Yeah,
about that?
I agree. The thing is, I don't think we're gonna sell super hard if we get a hike, just because like the market just doesn't care about 25 basis point hikes anymore, it seems like. Um, and so I don't think there's a ton of like imminent downside just from the pause or hike conversation. Uh, that being said, I mean, yeah, no, he doesn't have to pause. Like we saw other banks do, surprise hikes. I guarantee you he'll do whatever's priced in though. Like that's what ends up happening is he always does what's priced in. So um I mean it really just depends on CPI and core at this point, I think. Like if those come in cool, I don't see why not, because I mean from where I sit it looks like he's over tightened, but like, I don't know what he's thinking. But
That good. I didn't mean
but
to cut.
no, you're good.
But I was just saying, like that's a conversation I've had with people in space, and they're like, "Oh, he hasn't done enough." I'm like, "Dude, he's definitely over tightened.
For
Like,
sure.
it's very obvious he's over tightened. We wouldn't have had the banks go, fall to the floor that did if he didn't over tighten.
Mhm.
And I think that that's a ripple effect that will continue to happen even if he pauses. Um, yeah, I think there's a lot of headwind risks in those areas. Again, I agree with you. I don't think the market cares. I don't think the market even cares if he pauses. I don't think it will create a rally. I think the market will sit still, right? It'll continue to do what it's doing. And a lot of people will take that as healthy and they'll think that everything's fine. But again, going into that tail end of the year, when you look at tax loss harvesting, that can create some real ripples, especially if you're sitting at all-time high prices on a lot of things. You could start a cascade of tax loss harvesting, and it could start a cascade of a whole new bear market again, right? By retail sellers pushing out of positions. So I think there's a lot of risk in that area going into the end of the year, that while big money will be looking to take money losses to be able to compensate for tax write-offs, retail may panic, bid out of their positions, and push prices much lower than a lot of people are anticipating.
So, Will, who's going to be? Walk me through the next quarter or fiscal quarter, roughly. Let's just operate under this assumption: the Fed pauses, and this isn't just we're going to pause for one meeting. This is a we are done hiking. What happens? Walk me through the next quarter.
It's a little bit of a bid, I think. Prices continue to do what they've been doing, float up, because that's what a lot of this has been doing. It's just a floating of price. And you'll get some big movers. There's always big movers, right? But like nothing's gonna the market as a whole is not gonna catch a some massive blow off top bid. I don't think. Not from what I can see. Inflows would be much heavier than what they are. Russell will be much higher than where it is. I think there's a lot of risk. I'm looking at HYG. That's a really big one too. HYG is not looking the greatest. It looks like it wants to run, but I definitely think when HYG runs, it's going to be a run into a drop, right? Actually, if you could share screen real quick, I can show you kind of what I'm looking at for HYG. But
Yeah, let's do it.
I think there's a lot of risk.
And Will, one thing I'm just noticing here, and I could be wrong, it looks like your chart is just slightly blurry. Are you on a big monitor right now?
Yes.
Is there any chance you could kind of shrink it up on your end and I can let you know if it looks a little more clear?
Oh yeah.
I just want to see if we can get it to look.
Is that better?
Give me one moment here. I just want to make sure it looked a little bit blurry before, or at least compared to Tucker's. I just want to make sure that people watching can see it okay. I think that looks a little bit better. Yeah, that looks better, I think.
So we can go with that. Yeah, when you look at so kind of similar to the add-on Tucker's using right here. If you look at this one right here,
I gotta get that. What is that? Is that the crypto face?
It's called
Manchu.
Vu Manchu. It's a free version.
Blue Manchu.
Vu VU Man Chu CHU. So with the Vu here, right? You've got tightening price. Like there's basically trading has pretty much kind of tightened right in the zone. You got RSI rise, which is strength showing upside, and you got stochastic midway. So my expectation for this move would be that HYG is going to pop, right? And I don't know if it'll be into the pause, or if it'll be prior to the pause or after the pause, but it's going to pop in a big way. Probably come to like the $77 zone. If they're really lucky, they might even catch a bid all the way up here to like 80, right? They come up, hit these highs right here, and I'm expecting a full-on rejection on HYG, straight back down to the lows. And it's just because this right here is a pennant, it's a continuation pattern. But I'm expecting a fake out move, which means they're going to drop down, play the pennant, jump. People are going to think the pennant's invalidated, and then reverse back down to fulfill the pennant's intentional move, which is a drop. This is an atypical move that a lot of markets do. This is why I have it drawn two different ways, because a pennant will break down in two different ways. It will break down off the initial drop, or a lot of people will take this as an invalidation, but it's not actually an invalidation. It runs out, hits its highs, and then comes back for the drop. It's just grabbing liquidity before it drops.
So, Will, let me ask you a question. What's the current yield on HYG?
I mean, as far as HYG goes, I don't know what the yield is specifically. I know that if you buy,
because they're high yielding corporate bonds. Like, what are you actually, for owning HYG? What are you getting paid to basically own these junk bonds?
Oh, I mean, most of these are probably 15 to 30%, if not more.
No,
they're really high risk. Yeah,
they pay a 5% dividend too.
Yeah, they pay a dividend on top of it, so it's pretty nuts.
Okay, wait. So they're all gonna, it's gonna be yielding between 15 and 20%, but then they pay a dividend of 5%. I'm just trying to. I'm pretty sure
they're like a credit card. Let's see, what is it? Let me pull it up real quick. So oh no, my bad. No, the yield is 5.6 and a dividend. That's what it is.
I got you.
Roughly in that range, yeah.
So so it's only paying you 5.5% per year.
5.5% plus 3.89, so roughly about 9%. 9.
And the 3% comes in the form of a dividend, or what is that?
Yeah, and then there's a year-to-date daily return, total return on top of that. So it's a lot. There's a lot of stuff built into HYG.
So I'm just thinking, why would you not lock in like a 3-month to 1 year note guaranteed by the government? Why would you take on the additional credit risk of having some of these companies paying you instead?
Well, some of the yield, I'm pretty sure some of the yields on their books are pretty high, right? these are high yield corporate bonds are kind of the epitome of the most high risk when it comes to giving a loan. So these companies are looked at, they're evaluated, probably brand new, probably never owned a company, probably have horrible insurance, so on and so forth. And they're the people that go to Mastercard, and Mastercard comes back and like, all right, we're gonna max yield you at 30% return, and you're gonna spend the money on a credit card, right? And so the return on these are pretty nuts for HYG, and your return isn't too bad. I would say it's still higher than bonds. It's still higher than bonds for sure by almost double. So if you look at it from that perspective, you have to be in a market that is fluid, right? To take on risk with HYG, because HYG will do exactly what it did here, and HYG will fall off a cliff, right? And the expectation is you're probably like, how did I come to the conclusion of the low here? It's basically off the previous low right here. I'm expecting they're going to come down and grab all this liquidity that they left behind previously.
Is that the COVID
So
low?
that's the COVID low. Yeah.
Okay.
So this is your 2020 low, and they're so close to it. It only makes sense to come back for it before they move out at this point. And if you look at all of HYG's total moves, look here. There's even potential to come all the way back here to that's 2008. That's 2008 right there. So this is like your biggest drop right here from HYG.
Now let me ask you this,
HYG.
Will, is that your generational buying opportunity, or is this?
Yeah, these two are. These if you're not DCAing in these zones, then you might as well not even get involved with it, to be honest with you. But I would say here and here would be your generational opportunities, these two lower positions, 67 and 61. But again, what is your upside here, right? I mean, if you were to buy and sell $80, I mean, you're not really looking at a lot of upside. So I mean, define generational unless you're in it for the yield, right? If you're in it for the yield, 100% generational, right? You're going to get a really good amount of the stock or the ETF to be able to get a decent amount of yield, right? This is, I would say, any type of things that are yield or dividend. Yes, you want the best pricing, 100%. Growth, you can kind of play with it. You can DCA into growth, right? But yield is one of those ones where you can be finicky with price if you're looking to get entry. This is why I'm very adamant about Apple being way overpriced in my opinion compared to yield. Like their dividends are just horrible. 0.06 cents per share or something like that. Or six, I think it's what is it, 6%, 0.06% per share. So it's like almost like pennies per share.
I'm just trying to look through this quickly. I don't know if I have time like on stream to understand all this, but I'm trying to understand like the composite makeup of HYG here and see like what the actual true like credit risk involved with something like this is.
Oh, it's massive. It's massive. Yeah, like you're talking about like the freaking what's the banks that went under? Like Silvergate and all those other ones. Like those that's the kind of stuff they carry. Like the first banks that dropped, that would be stuff that would be on their books.
Speaking of high risk, I'd like to talk about OX while we're here live. Tucker, can you do me a favor and pull it up? Do you have it on your,
Yeah,
on your trading view?
Oh, before we move to that real quick,
Yeah.
I would say look at semis right here. This looks nuts. Like this is a massive bull flag on semis right here. And you're kind of in that area where you're at the low of volume. That vol looks like it wants to turn up.
What is this ticker that we're looking at here?
This is AOSL. So this is Alpha and Omega Semiconductors Limited.
Okay.
This definitely looks bottom though.
Certainly, I mean, if you break out of that channel there.
Well, it's not like a channel. Look at vol, and look at your Fu Manchu. It's basically got a green dot, which you shouldn't be playing off of those, to be honest with you. But you do have vol on the bottom. Whenever you have vol on the bottom side on the Fu Manchu, it's a good indication that even if it rolls back over, you're on the low end of the move, right? it can still roll back in deeper, but you're still buying at the most optimal price. And if you're buying below the half mark, if you're buying above the half mark, you're buying into the FOMO.
Yeah. All right, let's talk about OX. This could be a
I
fun
got
one.
it. Yeah, I got it right here.
All right, let me move over here. Well, what do you see there? I see something pressing up against all-time high with more or less a buy twop going on. Uh,
Yeah. Yeah, this thing looks like it's gonna break out pretty soon. Let's see. I wonder if we can, because this is Suzu's and Kyle's, right?
yeah, this is for OpenX Exchange.
Let's see if we can
This is their exchange token.
little 161A breakout maybe. What does that put us at? I don't. What is that? 86 from here. You can see it. I
Listen,
mean, yeah, it's been price discovery the whole time. So
listen. Here's how I'm looking at this thing. This is the Suzu redemption arc, make it all back project / token.
yeah,
I don't have any issues with Suzu. People give him slack online. I'm like, why are you mad at him? Like, he pumped your bags last cycle. He didn't try to lose a bunch of money, but he was so big. 3AC was so big. I mean, when they went under and they took some serious losses, like, it affected the industry. Like, they didn't necessarily like go in with bad intentions. They were just like all of us. They were literally just aping, you know. They were pushing returns and you know, they were larger than life. I got no issue with them. And I know that they're smart guys. They ran it up once. You willing to think that they can't run it up again? I mean, they started with nothing, and I think at one point they had almost 20 billion in assets under management. So these are guys that, for one, have helped shape the industry. Two, they understand how the game is played. Three, we've got a lot of like centralized exchange FUD going on right now. So do you really want to bet against two like previous industry titans as they're launching their new exchange token? I don't. You know, they know how the game is played. They know all the players, you know. They understand it. They will run it back, you know. And this thing's sitting at a 45, 48, what's it at right now? $49 million market cap. You know, what do you really think is going to happen? I'm watching right now on chain. There's just an $80,000 buy order that came in right now. I'm like, this thing is going to pump like crazy. You know, they're going to pump this thing up. And just in terms of market cap, if we just left curve it, take a look on like Coin Market Cap at what all the other exchange tokens are worth right now, and then also what they were worth at their peak during the bull market. I mean, even if this thing pulls a 10x from here, it could arguably still be undervalued for next cycle. So I guess I'm just looking at it in comparison, and I'm like, do we believe that Kyle and Suzu are going to pump this thing and they're going to have a successful new venture here? We've interviewed them before on Because Bitcoin Spaces, their CEO. It's like, what are we really talking about here?
yeah,
You
it
gonna bet
does. It
against
does
these
seem like
guys?
a no-brainer, honestly.
Yeah.
I mean, to a degree, I would say also like you want to look at volume on a lot of these too. The highest volume exchanges are pretty much Binance being the top. OKX is actually doing really well too, and then Coinbase, and a lot of people don't know this, but KuCoin, right? KuCoin's another one that's a really big, I would say, player in the space when it comes to volume. Those are the real volume exchanges, I would say, in a lot of ways.
I'm not gonna lie, like I took a decent little bag here of OX, you know. I'm not gonna lie, I definitely packed a little bit of a bag right before we started pressing up against this all-time high. So it's up a little bit, but this is I don't know. I literally just view this as like this is like the Suzu Make It Back project. You know, this is the 3AC We Are Back, baby. You know, I'm a
Yeah.
bet on them being back. I like those guys. I do. I think they're cool. I think they're relatable. They pumped the crap out of the market last cycle for everybody. All right, so it didn't end perfectly for them. That's okay. You know, this is an industry of second chances. All right, they will be back.
I mean, I feel like for as many people that don't like them, there's more that do. I feel like just from a sense of CT, like they have a fan club.
Yeah, man. Like I don't. Someone make me a case for like why they're bad guys. You know why we shouldn't like support them in the. I don't understand it. Why like there's so much anger sometimes around these guys. I don't understand it. I'm like, okay, so they blew up their fund. People blow up their accounts all the time. They were just way bigger than all of you guys. What's the issue here?
I think why people get fired up is because their blow up caused like Celsius and like probably in part FTX and some of these other centralized places where people like lost all their money, and
I
it
mean,
can somewhat be traced back to 3ACs blowing up.
100% it can, but like I would say FTX it just exposed them. That's all.
Yeah,
It didn't
for
blow them
sure.
up. Like they blew themselves up.
Well,
Yeah,
they
dude.
probably
So
could have kept the Ponzi going a little bit longer.
so
Yeah,
so
yeah, they
we've
could have kept the
got
Ponzi
like
going.
Arthur Hayes pissed because I think that they owe him money or something like that. I might be mistaken on that, but I'm like it seems like the people that are most upset are the ones that like loan them money,
Well,
and
yeah,
they
I mean
can't get
that's
paid back. I'm
expected
like,
though.
okay, well, what did you expect? Like a risk-free loan? You loan somebody money, like that's one of the many possibilities that can happen. Like I'm gonna
Yeah.
back these guys, and their token's gonna pump, and their exchange is gonna be successful because they understand the inner workings of the industry to a degree that many do not. And yeah, man, this thing's gonna pump. It is what it is. And
Yeah, it
guess
looks like
what?
it wants.
Ox,
Yeah.
OX, bull, ox, and a bull. I don't know. Maybe there's something there in the name, man. Not to go all like voodoo on it, but hey, it is crypto. Bitcoin topping
No, that's what
69K.
they're going for. That's what they're going for. Like they post pictures of like bowls and what like their last tweet that Wabi sent us or whatever. There was like bowls sitting around a table. So I think that's what they're going for.
Yeah, I dig it, man. I'm into it, and I packed my bags. It is what it is.
And you better be long on Bitcoin.
I have some exposure.
Because if you're not long on Bitcoin, you're gonna get crushed on that.
Nah, I've got some bags packed. I told the Discord about my positioning there with Bitcoin. I don't have any leverage on right now. Yeah, see there we go. Look at that.
That's the picture they just posted.
Is that an ox somewhere in there? Do I see an ox?
I mean, I think they're
That's my
all
Wagyu steak on the table right there.
they're bovine creatures. They're all just bulls or cows or whatever. But yeah, that's
You
what they're
guys see
going.
the pickup on BNB since yesterday's drop?
No, I didn't. I saw that Bybit was like omega shorting it. Just
Well, the Bybit's gonna get their back blown out. Look at that freaking move.
Bybit never does that. Weird. I wonder
I
if I
don't know.
just spec some BNB
Go
here.
on, go on the weekly. Go on the weekly.
Whoop, whoop.
We were talking
And
No,
about
no,
this.
go on the weekly.
We were talking about this with Tommy. I'm kind of thinking maybe like
Draw a line across the lows.
I know, no, I know the fabled B&B breakdown from range lows.
Yep. No, but like right in that area where you're at. No, yeah, that one. Yep.
I mean, you could go test them. You can go to 225,
You
but
could test it, but you're not going to get much out of it, right? And if you were to draw a line just from, let's say, draw a line on an angled line, upward, just where we are.
I got you. Yeah, we're probably sitting on it
Yeah, you can draw at the low end of all of them.
because these are hiking, so these could be bodies too. But yeah,
You see what I'm saying?
either way, you're kind of sitting on it.
Either way, yep. Either way.
Yeah, that is the body. Okay. I guess you like to take it from the bodies, don't you?
Yep.
Boom. Let's hide that.
I mean, I don't want to be this guy, but it kind of looks like FTT at $22.
No, Max, I did this before, and I even put it on Twitter. I even put it on Twitter, and I deleted it,
I
but
don't
it
want to be
was.
that guy or anything, but I'm
Delete.
just saying it.
I mean, it looks like it's going the other way. I'm just saying.
Let's see.
Oh shoot.
I had it set up so perfectly. Maybe I just took the fractal. Yeah, maybe I just
I
took
think
the.
you gotta scroll in more, I think.
Boom. Huh?
Nah, you're good, you're good.
No, hang on. I literally just took the
That
yeah.
thing's bouncing off the floor, man. There ain't no way. It's not even close.
Wait, no, this FTT one isn't gonna do it, but yeah.
Nah, put it against Luna.
If there was ever a
Right.
time for BNB to pull back to $50, just saying.
Uh,
Now, when you look at it against Luna, Luna didn't do much damage to BNB. Just saying.
yeah, that happened here? Luna went to 0, BNB dropped 60%.
Yep.
Look, you got to understand who you're battling here. You got to understand who you're playing.
Yeah.
If you decide you want to short BNB, you're battling the Godfather, man. You're going
I
up
know.
against the mafia boss.
Mm-hmm. See, now
Okay?
that matches. It's already hit its floor. See?
No.
I mean,
No.
these are
He
That is
days.
said-
Dr. Outlook. That is a rare miscalculation in your outlook. That is not the same.
These are two dead tokens.
Oh
All right,
shoot.
let me make this. All right, let me see what I can do here.
All right, you got him. You got him, Max.
Let me see. We're gonna keep. Give me just a second here. All right, hang on. Hang on, hang on, hang on. Everybody just hang on. Are we hanging on? Oh,
We're hanging
can you
on.
go back to sharing your screen there, whoever? Because it messed
Oh,
up the
did I screw
cameras.
it up?
Yeah, we got to keep one. We got to keep somebody sharing. Yeah,
Okay,
and then
gotcha.
I'll swap over to mine. Just give me a second to try to construct this briefly.
He's gonna try to do it on screen.
Yeah, I'm gonna try to do
He's
it.
like, let me set this up to fit my narrative. No,
That's right.
We do a little
Oh,
massaging to
shit.
fit bias.
Yeah,
Little
we do a little
massage.
massaging. It's fine.
Oh, shit.
Okay, FTT USDT. Which one has the most history for FTT?
I just went with Binance, but
Bro, hey, hold on. Let me show my chart real quick. We gotta look at this. I don't think a lot of people know this one.
All
are
right,
you
hold
sharing?
on. All
Yeah,
right,
I'm
you're
sure.
on. Dr. Outlook, you're on.
All right, so, bro, I'm telling you, look, left, middle, right. I'm telling you, and look at where it's at right now.
Oh, is that the Dow? Yeah, bro.
Yeah, yeah. It gets above here, man. It's over. It gets above 34.6. It's gonna run. It's gonna run hard.
Do that target calculation though. Pull it from the neckline to the head and then pull it over.
From the neckline to the head. Oh, you mean right here?
Yeah, probably from there to the head. What is that? 8%.
Yep. 8.43. So
Pull it from where you think the breakout would be.
I think the breakout will be right above here.
8% gives you 37.5 all-time highs.
Yep. All-time high move. That's what I'm saying, man.
Interesting. Melt up.
Yeah, I mean, but this lines up with our talk on the other day on S&P and everything else kind of running. And then, basically pulling a 2008, 2000 scenario where it's basically hit its low, came back up, retested all-time high, actually broke above it a little bit, and then broke down a second time. Going
Wait,
into the next cycle.
go look at the 2000.com of the Dow.
Okay.
I'm looking at it now too.
I mean, it's a very similar situation. The Dow actually ran much harder than SPY did there too. Look, It basically got well above it and still formed a lower low, just like the SPY. Right.
Yeah, like zoom in on that like 99 to 2002. Like
Uh,
right where it nuked.
right in here.
Yeah, right in there.
Oh yeah, where it came down, bounced all the way back up.
Like
Where you touched.
there were some setups in there, I feel like probably more so on like the 3 day or the daily that probably looked like IHS.
Yeah,
Just
yeah.
because it chops so much.
If you look at this from a bigger perspective, this was just one massive broadening wedge.
Yeah.
That's all it was.
That megaphone.
Yep. And then the breakout occurred, and it really didn't get much upside for a breakout like this. Like such a substantial move into a breakout. It's pretty crazy that it only got this much move out of that breakout. So,
All right, guys, my turn.
all right, it's all you. You guys see that tweet GPT I put in the chat there?
In the chat.
Yeah, in the Discord
Uh
staff chat.
Tweet GPT, huh?
I saw it.
That
Was
little
kinda
video I
funny.
got.
Oh my god.
All right, you guys can't see my screen. I'll have to send
I'll
you a
watch it.
picture.
Oh, you can't share it? Is it
I
private?
forgot. We got to figure that out with OBS. All right,
Oh, gotcha.
I'm gonna send you guys a picture. Hang on. All right, hang on. I'm texting you guys a picture. All right, look at that. Check your text. Do whatever, like, think about it.
Okay.
You guys see it?
Oh, you don't want to tell the general public?
They can see it. They can see it. They're looking at it. They can see it. You guys can't see it.
I mean, I can see your chart. What do you mean?
Wow. I mean,
Look,
I got it.
Binance's biggest misstep was taking out FTX because Sam was going to rat. Okay. Sam was going to do everything he possibly could. He had this little passive aggressive tweet too. And he was like, he put out this big thread and he was like, I'm not going to like say anything now about like a certain competitor or whatever. All I'll say is those that live in glass houses or something like that. All right.
Shouldn't throw stones.
Yeah, exactly. Sam was already in bed with legislators in Washington, and CZ completely took him out. You know damn well what CZ did. FTX would still be around if CZ hadn't done what he did. He took him out with a tweet. He saw that they were vulnerable and he took them out. Okay, and look, all I'm saying is he's been sitting there the whole time talking with people in Washington, figuring out how to literally take out Binance to the best of their ability. Will they be able to do it or not? I don't know, but I'm just saying it was a misstep to take out Sam. Truthfully, I think that you piss somebody like that off, he's gonna just squeal on you and do everything he can just to make your life difficult.
I mean, to a degree, but I don't think CZ is dumb enough to really kind of reveal his plot at the end of the day, too. I think whatever Sam knew is whatever CZ wanted Sam to know. And, whatever Sam says, they may or may not be able to get evidence on. Like, the guy is just smart, man. It's a difficult situation to try and say, at least for me, to try and say that he can go down for what anything that he's done. Even commingling funds, he openly admitted it, but it's like, can they really do anything to him?
Max,
That's
look
really
at
the
my
question.
screen real quick. Look at my screen real quick.
Somebody was asking about VIX too.
I tweeted this picture out on December 17th, 2022. That's And I thought it looked pretty good too. I was like, okay, this.
Dude, look, the issue with FTX was that a a large portion of their balance sheet was basically comprised of FTT. You
Mhm.
send
Yeah.
FTT to zero, then FTX, the exchange, is completely under collateralized, and that's the underpinning of their business was money that they made. I don't know if that's the case with Binance. I don't know what their business looks like, but I will say this, they they have a problem on their hands. But at the same time, it's like, okay, well, you could just basically dissolve Binance US. If CZ is just like done with it, he could just be like, all right, screw the US, man. We're just gonna operate in like every other jurisdiction that will leave me alone. It might not be an issue. So
The funny part is for me is that the SEC actually trying to get them on buying Bitcoin and pumping the price.
they
And what
probably
that tells
did.
me is that the SEC knows that they pumped the price, so that they probably caught the floor. Um, it's hilarious because they're trying to say market manipulation, but I would think almost that they could come back and say, well, we were just buying a dip so we could have cheaper Bitcoin to service our customers. So it's kind of like a catch 22, right? Like it's like, can you really get them for that?
Yeah, that's tough. It looks so ugly. Look at that chart. I mean, that thing is disgusting. Do you want to try and
Yeah.
It
step in
does.
front of it? No, but I mean, that's like, if it wasn't BNB and it wasn't Binance behind it, and you were looking at that, you'd forget about it, right? It's just you're
Will,
afraid to
how would
step in
you
front of it because
how
you
would you
know.
treat that volume? How would you guys treat that volume?
I treat low trading volume as there's no interest to sell or buy, right? A lot of people think that it's gonna, it's a continuation of price down, but it's just the market has to make a decision from here. It's gonna either have to dump or pump, right? And then once you catch the big volume spike, that's when you know you got true price volume. So like if you go to BTC for instance, and I can show you exactly what I'm talking about. But like if you turn vol on BTC, go on to like a higher time frame, like weekly, monthly, something like that.
This is
You
your
could
guy.
see that the exact vol I'm talking about on Bitcoin. So I would probably go into the monthly to be honest, and then look at the lows here, and now skip off of the move away from the highs there.
I guess I'm on Bitstamp. I probably don't want to be on Bitstamp.
Yeah.
Let me go
Here,
on.
actually, just let me share chart real quick, and I'll show you
You got it.
what I'm doing. Give me just a second. Share. All
Fine.
right. All
Nice.
right. Let me know when you're ready. No.
Go ahead.
So if you look here at Bitcoin, basically your vol over here is, high, right? But you're at the high end of price. Vol starts to drop off as you're dropping. And then once you get to a certain point in the price chart, vol picks up again, kind of indicating this current fluctuation in price to the upside, right? So you got a heavy vol move right here against price dropping. What that indicates to me when you're coming down is that people are buying a lot in here. They're trading a lot in here. So that means that people weren't interested in they didn't want nothing to do with Bitcoin until we got to here, right? And then we drop down again and we get higher price volume spikes. And then we drop down here, we get higher price volume spikes. So eventually these higher price volume spikes are going to cause a reversal move. And that's why I was looking for a reversal in this move overall, was because I was anticipating for that to play out on top of a falling wedge, so on and so forth, that kind of played here. And then we get the low volume move right here, and you're basically just trading sideways. So, once they started to catch the move here, I was expecting them to catch the move a second time. And that's what we saw. We saw the low volume spike, and then we get a big volume spikes again. Now, the problem that I'm seeing is over here when they were trying to catch it, volume was rising, right? A lot of volume rising. Now that we're over here pumping, vol is actually dropping. So it's kind of like, okay, at some point, this thing comes back hard. And that's where I was like, okay, well, vol here is still really high. So because vol here is still really high, I'm still expecting them to do exactly what they've been doing. That's a spike one, right? Drop, spike two, drop, and then probably one more spike three, and then A, B, C back down, right? And bring vol back down to the lows, probably consolidate sideways, and then continuation pattern, something like that. So that's kind of what I've been looking for, is this to play out over here somewheres. Now the crazy part is we're starting to get low vol here, but if we continue to get low vol here, we could see another spike too, right? So that's what I've been kind of looking for, but I would have liked to see this pattern continue to spike vol, but it's not happening right now. Right now we're kind of in a low volume area, so we got to let the market kind of decide direction here, but it's kind of letting it sit and wait. But this is kind of where you see price step in, you see interest step in. There was basically no interest as we were dropping down until we got to like right in here in price. So this is where I kind of started picking up alts all through here as we were dropping, because volume spikes. And we see the same thing, I think, even over here with like SPY, for instance. When we look at SPY on the higher time frames, come over here on the weekly slash monthly, and we basically up here had a decent amount of interest, right? This is this little ramp up, and then we're dropping, but as we're dropping, we're continuing to ramp on price, right? So we're picking back up to the highs, but from what I'm seeing, like this indication right here, this red move is your big price drop. So I'm thinking the closer we get to this volume level, up here, the more likely we're going to see a big drop in the SPY, right? Because volume is just getting FOMOed in, and once volume kind of gets FOMOed in, you're going to kind of get a massive pullback on that move. So a little bit interested to see how this thing plays out, but definitely some interest there. Um, Same thing kind of over here with Unity. When I was looking at Unity, like you got very little interest to trade this stock up here. You got the big drop, and if you look here, look at where this big spike occurs. It occurs right here, right? Right here, right? This big pickup. There was a massive buy-in on this one candle. And it's not the white one coming down. It's the very next one right after that, right? That's where your big volume spike is. And then you're continuing to catch spike, and they're kind of slowing the drop here, right? So I'm kind of watching this area. This is why I think this is a good accumulation zone, because like they're slowing the drop, and you've got an even bigger spike in interest all the way over here at this candle, right? So this may be a FOMO move, but this is where they want to control price, in my opinion. So because they want to control price there, I want to be trading in this range, if not buying in this range.
I
So
can't
that's why I'm
help but
kind of
notice that, like, on the previous highest sell volume candle there, Will, back in, like, looks like May last year, that marked
yep,
pretty close to like a global bottom, at least for the short
yep,
term. I can't help but think, at least in the short term, as we press up against range highs, unless we see like 2 or 3 more of those big green volume buy candles come in, perhaps that is just like a squeeze and this marks a local top, just like the big sell volume marked a local bottom.
yep. And you can see that right through here. If you were to just draw a line on the highs of the volume, if you were to just take these positions as your high points, right? These
Yeah.
actually wouldn't be bad, or lows or highs. These actually wouldn't be bad positions to be taking. But it's basically contained price. So you're safe as long as you're in this range, right? Where you're unsafe is if you break down from this range, or if you break out from this range and you're not in. Then at that point you're chasing.
Yep. Yep. Okay, so guys, we are coming into time here. We've been going just a little bit over an hour, so we're going to wrap it up here so we have some stuff to talk about tomorrow. So if you are still here, thank you for tuning in and thank you for watching. I guess this was our second episode of Market Check 2.0 every single day at 10:15 a.m. Eastern Time, so we'll be back tomorrow as well. If you haven't yet, please like the video, and also please consider subscribing to the channel. We're putting out a lot more content, going to be making a big push into YouTube. And then, of course, you can see right there underneath me, premium Discord, free 1 week trial. Doesn't cost you anything. We share all of our trades, all of our analysis. We have the entire Because Bitcoin team there. Really great community, pretty tight knit, pretty committed. So if you want to give it a try, again, it's 1 week for free, non-committal. You hate it, you drop off. It doesn't cost you anything. If you love it, you stick around. But anyways, guys, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for being here, and we will see you tomorrow morning, 10:15 a.m. Eastern time for Market Check.